candidates and giving hands-on experience in the live session to work upon. And it also provides mentorship service for the young graduates so that they have the right career option. You all must be wondering that this thing is really gonna change our life, or it will really work for all of us. Well, definitely it will. You all know that we all have the recipe for success. But you know what? One thing that is missing in our lives, can anyone tell? You can write in the chat box if you want. Anyone? Can you tell that one missing ingredient in our lives? That is, I'll tell you, that is the, proper guidance that is missing. So CEP aim at bridging the gap between employability and deployability. Without wasting further time, I'd like to introduce you with the speaker, Dr. Namrata Pathak. Dr. Namrata Pathak is an MBA. She has done her PhD from IIT, ISM. Please mute yourself. Presently an independent consultant in Muscat, Oman. She has been, faculty in several institutes in India and Oman, and she has been teaching OB, entrepreneurship, business research, business ethics. So welcome, ma'am. I request you to address the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Rushta. Thank you so much. And first of all, wish everyone a very happy, healthy, and a prosperous and successful New Year. So it's a pleasure to see that we finally finished off with 2020 and we came out successful. And also, I wish everyone a healthy 21. And at the outset, I would like to thank Dr. Anna and Dr. Tosi for having me on board. So without wasting time any further, because many of us have been waiting since quite a long time. So I will move to the discussion that we have today. So the topic of the discussion today is the art and science of selling and packaging yourself. Now, I'm calling it a discussion because I want it to be a two-way communication process wherein whatever I have to say, I will deliver from my end. And if you all have any queries, please feel free to ask whatever it is. Don't hesitate in asking questions, because one who asks questions is fool for some time, and one who doesn't remains a fool for a lifetime. So please feel free to ask your queries as and when you have them. So can we have the first slide, please? So now I call it the art and the science of packaging yourself. Now, why packaging? Why is packaging important in today's times? Now, as we all know, and there's a very famous quote from George Bernard Shaw. It says that even the best of ideas have to be packaged and sold. Mm-hmm. Now, when he said that the ideas have to be packaged and sold, he meant that whatever your idea, but until and unless you fabricate it, you package it in an attractive way, it would be difficult to sell it. Now, since all of us are in a highly competitive marketplace, now wherever you go, there's no place that you will find that it's a raw market or people are not there or there's less competition. Anywhere you go, any field you go, any kind of profession you want to take up, there is a high competition everywhere. And there are very competitive people, there are very talented people, versatile people that you'll find everywhere. But still, in this time of competition, you still need to prove yourself to excel, to succeed in life. So when we consider yourself as a product. Now, as we sell products, as we sell commodities in the market, in the same way, individuals also have to sell themselves in the competitive markets when they are going for interviews. So what they are doing, they are selling themselves. So whenever you are selling yourself, you have to tell, obviously, your plus points, your strengths, your whatever you can excel at. So when you are selling yourself, you need to know about yourself. You need to be absolutely confident that you are saleable. So now most even there are many sales people who are already in the market who are selling products. I am talking about the sales guys who are out there. So sometimes even they are not able to sell themselves. They can sell products very well, but when it comes to talking about themselves, when it comes to taking up jobs, when it comes to uh, getting promotions, they find it difficult to sell themselves. That's because of lack of awareness about their self. Now, packaging, as many of, if there are any marketing students, they might be knowing that marketing mix has 4 P's, which is called product, price, place, and promotion. So whenever there's a product, whenever you have to market something, you need to have a product. It needs to have a price. It also needs to have a place. That is the place that you're going to sell it, and you also need to promote it. So now recently, when theories evolved, there came 7 P's, and then there was the 5th P of marketing, which was called packaging. So packaging has emerged as a very important aspect of marketing, because as it is said that first impression is the last impression. So when you are trying to impress, whenever you go for an interview, you're definitely trying to impress the interviews. You want the interviewers to be impressed by you so that you may get the job. So obviously first impression lasts. So that's why packaging is important. Now, for example, earlier people used to go to vegetable markets to buy vegetables from the small vendors. But nowadays, even everyone is going to buy even the vegetables from grocery stores and from supermarkets. There you might have seen that the vegetables are now packaged and sold. It's the same, be it carrots, be it peas, be it whatever vegetable it is. But what happens? It's the same thing that you're getting at the vendors, and it's the same thing that you're getting at the supermarkets. The only difference is in packaging. So when the whatever good it is, whatever commodity it is, be it an individual or be it a good or a commodity, if it's packaged well, if it's presented well, it definitely has more chances of getting sold. So when you are packaged well, when you are more presentable, you have more chances of success at the interviews. So like when the package at the supermarkets, the vegetable packets at the supermarket says that this is clean, this is hygienic, and the packets are BPA free, and there are other technical terms also that they use. So whenever those are used, obviously it catches the eyes of the customers. Next slide, please. So why packaging is important, we came to know because we need to sell ourselves. Now packaging is an art. Now I call it art because anything which is an art needs skills. It can be improved, it needs practice. And also packaging is also a science because it has theories behind it. There are certain facts, there are certain set of rules behind it, and that is why I call it a science as well. Because see, certain things that are already there, which are the basics of packaging, that has to be there. But eventually and gradually, people can improve, and that is why it is also called an art also. So as Thomas Alva Edison had once said, that if we did all the things we are capable of doing, we would really astonish ourselves. We would surprise ourselves if we did all the things we are capable of doing. So most of us, many of the times, don't know our real potential. We don't know what all we are capable of doing. So That is why we need to improve our potential. Now, how you improve your potential? You can improve your potential by increasing your knowledge. You can read a lot. Whenever you are going for interviews, you need to know what interview you are going for, what organization you are going to appear for. So whenever you have a complete knowledge about any organization and complete knowledge also of your potentials. Now, suppose if you are a science student and you are not well versed with the markets, you are not well versed with what's happening in the markets, and you go for a marketing job, then definitely you are less likely to succeed than those who have already excelled, or those who have already done their course in business management or are marketing experts. So obviously, somebody who is a science student and does not have a marketing background needs to put in more efforts, needs to increase their potential when it comes to knowledge about marketing. So you need to improve your potential, and potential can be improved in many other ways. You need to improve your intelligence, your knowledge about your communication skills, your presentability, your personality, everything. So you need to find out where you are lacking, and then you can definitely now once you know, the first step towards progress is only when you know where you are lacking. So you need to know where you're lacking, and then you can definitely improve your potential. Secondly, reinvent yourself. Now, everybody knows the meaning of invention. Now, reinventing means that once, suppose you have not been able to succeed in various interviews, suppose there have been times where, when even after working hard, or even after knowing so many things about the organization, or about the general awareness also, you are not able to crack at the interviews, you're not able to get the jobs, then it's time to reinvent yourself. Find out where you are lacking, find out, even after knowing so many things, why you did not succeed. So the basic things, now there are certain basics that you need to know. Make a diary, make a note of things that you're lacking in, what all is expected at the markets in the present times, what all the interviewers expect, what all the markets expect. So see, because once you start knowing that what is the need in the markets and what is the interviewers need, you will definitely start to know where you are lacking, and then only you can improve yourself, and then challenge yourself. Now, I many a times come across students who say that, ma'am, I am not able to speak good English. Ma'am, I am not very good at maths. Ma'am, I am not able to communicate well. I am an introvert. I'm not able to speak well with people. So see, these things, everything can be improved. That is the first thing where improvement begins. When you start realizing, when you start accepting that no, you can improve yourself, you can. So you have to challenge yourself. If somebody says that no, you cannot speak a good English, then challenge themselves and show them that no, you can do it. Now, how you can improve your English? Read a lot of English newspapers, watch English movies. So those really help. And when you're reading, read out loud. So initially you may be facing difficulties, initially you may not be able to perform well, but eventually you will definitely do well. I have seen people doing wonders out there at interviews, when they have made the right kind of efforts. And then capitalize on your strengths. Now, not always English or communication helps at the workplace or at the interview. So everybody has some or the other kinds of strengths. So there may be strengths that you don't know about yourself. So try to find mentors who can help you find out or make you realize what your strengths are. They definitely can take you a long way in your career and help you attain success. So capitalize whatever strengths you have, capitalize on your strengths, focus on your strengths. If you are good at maths, if you are good at English, so whatever your strength is, try to focus on that and try to move in your career towards that direction. So always try to capitalize on your strengths, definitely. And when you're working on your strengths, and you have weaknesses also, so we all say that work on your SWOT analysis, that is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So your strengths are what all skills you have, whatever you are good at. It may be communication, it may be knowledge, it may be working hard, it may be your aptitude. So there may be many things. And then work on your weaknesses, try to improve upon your weaknesses, but definitely don't waste time. Or if you don't have time, then don't waste time on your weaknesses trying to improve it, and don't polish your strengths. So if you have time, only then work on your weaknesses and try to accept your weaknesses. Now if you go for interviews, then try to accept whatever weaknesses you have. Don't try to hide them from the interviewers, because being truthful is always important and necessary at the interviews, because interviewers are very experienced people, and they get to know that you are lying. So if you have a weakness, work on it. If you cannot improve in a limited time, then try to accept and go forward. And then be presentable, present yourself in a way highlighting all your best aspects, highlighting everything that you have. So always try to focus on your strengths. Everybody has weaknesses, so please don't lose heart that you have so many weaknesses. You can work upon it, you can improve it with time. If you don't have time, then definitely everybody has certain strengths that can help them get the jobs, that can help them get through the interviews. Next slide, please. And then now the most important thing, see, there are two imperatives which are very, very important in everybody's lives. Now those are the IQ and the EQ. Now many people know IQ is the intelligence quotient, or the test of your intelligence, and EQ is the emotional quotient, or the test of your emotions. So whenever you are out there at interviews, whenever you are packaging yourself, you're trying to present yourselves, you are trying to improve yourselves, focus on improving your IQ as well as EQ. Both of them are equally important. Now intelligence quotient, both, everybody knows that there are many parameters to measure it. There's a certain score of around 145 or so, that somebody having a score of that is considered to be a genius. So you don't really need to be a genius, but then you need to have a score which is considered an average score. So try to get your intelligence quotient tests done. There are various tests available online, as well as many mentors are there, many teachers are there who take up these tests, who give these tests, and they can help you improve. So intelligence tests are nothing but tests of your aptitude, tests of your mental abilities, test of your communication skills, language, all these things which are basic towards to any job. And then there is the emotional intelligence test. Now what is emotional intelligence? The art of managing your emotions is called emotional intelligence. Now people at leadership roles, or people who are experienced, people who are at the top hierarchy of any organization, usually are considered to have a high emotional quotient, because most of the times, I am not generalizing this, many people at the top level also may or may not have, so please don't generalize this, but usually people in leadership roles are supposed to have a high emotional quotient, or they manage their emotions very well. Now emotional intelligence has basically 5 components. These are self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. Now of all these skills, when you are working on yourself, when you are trying to improve yourself, the first and the most important aspect of it, that is self awareness, is the most important. Your emotional intelligence starts with self awareness. Now, what is self awareness? Self awareness is everything that you need to know about yourself, about your emotions. How do you behave in a certain situation? How do you react in a certain situation? So, if you are too reactive, if you get angry, if you behave in a way that is not very acceptable in a public forum, then what happens? Then that means that you are very low on emotional intelligence. So whenever you are trying to work on your emotions, first try to realize. So it's not always important to react immediately. You can think about it. Most of the times we say that we cannot control our anger, we are not able to, somebody said this and then it triggered our anger. So please don't do that. And whenever you are trying to know about yourself, try to practice your emotions not only at the workplace but in your daily life as well, with your family, with your friends, with your close circles. So that will gradually give you an edge, that will gradually help you improve. See, because emotions cannot be changed, or it's not a history lesson that you will learn by heart in a in one night. So that's why it's very important to keep practicing it. People who have a high emotional intelligence, people who have a high emotional quotient, and if you are good at emotional intelligence, then there are more chances of performing well at interviews. Now, what happens? Usually, interviews are not only about test of knowledge. Usually, at interviews, the interviewers also test your ability to handle stress. So, they are also called stress interviews. So, what happens at stress interviews is that they try to see that in a situation, if there is a stressed out situation in an organization, then what do you do? And if people ask, so whenever you are even making your resume, don't try to write down things that you are actually not. So if you write a lie and an interviewer asks you certain questions about that and you're not able to answer it, and then definitely you get stressed out. So to manage that, and that is quite visible to the interviewers are very smart and they are able to find out that whether you are lying or whether it's the truth. So like nowadays people also have profiles on their social media. So somebody writing down that in your CV that you are you fear heights, and then on your social media profile you put a picture have doing a paragliding. So that is a contrast that you have in what your CV says and what your social profile says. So it's very important to have a balance between your social profile and what your resume says. Now, coming back to emotional intelligence and stress interviews I was talking about. So whenever you are trying to get aware of yourself. Now, I'll just give an example of a stress interview. Like that was with me itself when I was having my first interview for my first job. So what happened? I am an HR person, so I was having an interview for an HR executive role. So my interview, they took my introduction and everything, and then they asked me to write down names of 60 students from my class. Now that initially definitely made me nervous, but then I realized no, I have to do it, and I wrote down 60 names of 60 students. So now usually what happens, if some people are not able to remember the names of 60 students, then what you do? You get nervous, you don't tend to write down the names, and then that shows on your face. So what you can do, you can write down any names, because the interviewer does not know that what names of students were there in your class. But then definitely having an edge in your interview, knowing about whatever you have had in your past, so you need to present it in that way. So whenever there are stress interviews, you need to manage your emotions well. There are times when at interviews the interviewers will try to arouse you, will try to make you angry, but you need to remain calm. You don't need to be offensive, you don't need to argue with the interviewers. So always try to have a balanced mind, a calm mind. So always start with self-awareness amongst yourself. And then self-regulation comes gradually, wherein what you do, you regulate your emotions. Like somebody makes you angry, then you don't respond immediately. What you do, you think about it, you write down, and then find out that is this the reaction that you would have expected from someone else had you been in the similar situation. So those things help you to try to regulate your emotions. And then there is empathy. Now, what is empathy? Empathy is when you try to think from the other person's perspective, when you try to think things from the other person's point of view. So most of the times when you empathize with people, you will find that everybody is correct in their own place. Their reactions, their whatever they do is obviously very justified. So whatever you do, always try to empathize with people, and then keep yourself motivated to do whatever you want to do in your career. So internal motivation, or what we call in organizational behavior terms as intrinsic motivation, is very important. For some people, like people who are emotionally intelligent, what happens for them, the external motivation factors like salary or promotion or position, these are not much of an importance. As much they have their intrinsic motivation, like what they really want to achieve in their career. So their need for achievement is very high. And people who are good at at managing their emotions, they are definitely very good at their social skills. So they have very good social circle, they manage people well. And only then, when you are going in an interviews, for interviews, before personal interviews, there are group discussions also. So they are also a test of your social skills, that how you manage in a team. So all those things are very important. So it's very important to focus on the intelligence quotient as well as the emotional quotient. Can we have the next slide, please? Now, next comes communication. Now, communication is a very important aspect in interviews. Now, when you are packaging yourself, now we were talking about packaging yourself and selling yourself. Now, how do you sell yourself? You need to speak to people. You need to tell them about what you are capable of doing, what are your strengths, what all you can do. So now communication is both an art and a science. Now, why a science? Because it has rules. There are communication rules that you need to start your conversation or start your communication from a certain, only when asked to speak, speak only when you are asked to. Then it has syntax. It is a process. Now, communication is a process that starts from the sender, it goes through the receiver, and ends when you get a feedback. So it is a complete process, a complete cycle. So that's why communication is a science. And communication is also an art, because it is an expression of sentiments. Now, not always what happens, what you speak, we always speak with some kind of an emotion, some kind of sentiments. The whatever you communicate, whatever you say, it also has an emotion or a sentiment attached to it. So interviewers are able to read those sentiments. Interviewers are able to read between the lines and understand what you're trying to say. So communication is an art, and it can be improved. Now, when you suppose certain offensive questions are asked to you in interviews, and you get aroused or you get angered by it, then it's not necessary to show your anger during an interview. You can calm down, you can try to answer the same question in a better way. So you have to find out those ways and those questions, because certain questions nobody knows what the interviewer is going to ask. So you have to know that what the interviewer expects from you and what the interviewer wants from you. And it communication also involves creativity, and it needs style as well. Now, when I say creativity, now there are certain words. Now, when in communication people use certain complicated words in a situation wherein it's not required. So always try to focus on simple words. Use simple words. You can be creative when and where it is required. Don't try to always be creative. So using simple words, using simple jargons is okay, but using complicated words which are not used in daily lives, then the interviewer feels that you're trying to show off. So it's important to show up. You need to show what you are, but you don't need to show off. So be creative to an extent that it shows your strengths, it presents you well. You don't need to be over creative, like excess of everything is bad. So that's how you need to have a style, but a style of your own. Don't try to copy styles from people. When you try to copy styles, it shows in your gait. Now you many most of you might have seen mimics, like those who try to act other people. So that is why we call it mimicry, because they are not their real self. So always try to have and develop your own style rather than copying someone. And style through practice can be improved, and you can gradually develop your own style. So whenever in interview you have to communicate, always follow its rules, and always try to improve your the way you express yourselves, your creativity and your style. Of course, English as a language is also very important, so you need to improve English with your diction and your vocal modulation. All those things are also important. So some people, it seems like whenever they are speaking they are angry, and some people, even when they are scolding, it seems they are smiling and they are calm. So you have to have a modulation between your voice whenever you are speaking. So try to focus on that. Next slide, please. Now we come to branding.
Ma'am,
Now, see, yes.
ma'am, is this presentation going to be this general all the way to the end, or like we are going to be more precise in like how to approach a conversation in interview, or like the steps to follow, or this is going to be like all the way to the end, this general?
This is going to be a general presentation, I guess, and the specifications that you're talking about is going to be in the next session that's starting from 10th. Is that correct? Saad, guess, can be more specific.
Yes, yes, absolutely,
Yes, yes.
absolutely.
Yes. So
So,
this is going to be a general and streamlining about the entire interview, and whatever your specifications you're talking about. So we'll get to that when we are going to have the regular sessions from 10th. So you need to enroll about that. And during that sessions, we can also have dummy interviews, and I can be more specific about what actually you need to do. I can even conduct dummy interviews. Is that okay, Sal?
yeah, makes sense, Dr.
Yes,
Namta.
ma'am.
Yeah. So that's how it's going to be. I hope I'm clear, Zain.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, you're welcome. So next we come to branding. Now, when we are talking about branding, now how do you brand yourself? Now, to begin with, I'll give an example. When we go to malls, when we go to showrooms, for example, Bata. You go to a Bata showroom and you see a shoes which is priced at 2,999. Do we bargain? No, we don't bargain. We just pay that price and take our shoes and get out of the store. But when you go to a local market, suppose in Delhi, you have those local markets like Connaught Place and Sadar Bazaar and all those things. And when you see a shoes there, if they say it's 500, do we bargain? Yes, we obviously say give it for 200, give it for 150. We keep on bargaining. So that's what brand is all about. So you need to create your brand, you need to create your brand image, and that's what brand does to you. Now I don't know if most of you might be knowing about the famous actor Amitabh Bachchan. So his voice, now everybody in India, I guess he is the one who is on the calls, you get to hear his voice. Now, initially, when he started his career and he went to All India Radio, his voice was rejected for the radio. And now brand Amitabh Bachchan is like speaking everywhere. Uh, he has the voice everywhere. So you need to create your brand, and that's why brand is important, because it gives you an edge. So the distance from who you are to thank you for being here. Now what's the difference? Now when you are starting your career, people don't know you, people ask you who you are. And when eventually you improve yourself, you create your own brand, you are a renowned person, then what happens? People say thank you for being here. So they are really glad that you are here. So that is why branding yourself is important. Create your own brand, don't copy styles. So when your brand is created, people talk about you, people want you, even if you are in the middle of your career. Suppose your career has started and it's not going on well, then definitely you need to be very keen on creating your brands. So how do you create your brand? Now, theoretically, branding is a marketing practice that creates a positive impression of a company and its products or services in the minds of customers and distinguishes from competitors. So you have to distinguish yourself from your competitors. So like whenever you hear of Bata, you hear of a shoes like school shoes. Bata are school shoes. Bata are considered to be comfortable shoes. Bata is considered to be a shoes which is long lasting. So that's what a brand image creates in your mind. It tells you everything that it is. So the same brand you have to create yourself. Suppose somebody hears your name and says, oh, that, suppose I am just taking a simple certain dummy name, that is suppose ABC. So whenever somebody is talking about you, oh, that person, he is very good at marketing, he is very good at sales, so take him for sales, take him for marketing. So that's kind of the brand image that you need to create yourself, and that you do with your first interview itself. You have to be consistent, you have to be genuine, you have to be authentic. So all these things, when you are genuine, be your real self, don't try to be what you are not. So when you are genuine, when you are authentic, original version of yourself, so what happens then? People try to get more attracted towards you, or rather I should say people try to think high of you in that case. So always try to be the original and the real and the true version of yourself, and then leave a positive impact. You should have an image, you should have a brand of yourself, that when you leave or even when you are not there, it creates a positive impact in the minds of the people, so people don't talk negative about you. So whenever whenever you are there for interviews and you leave, or suppose if somebody is working and the person leaves, even though the person leaves the organization, people talk good about them. So that kind of a brand image that is that you have to create. So try to leave a positive impact, try to be original, try to be your real self. That helps you in creating your brand. There are many brands nowadays, so we associate all the brands with certain kind of aspects. So try to create that kind of an image for yourself since the beginning. The next slide, please. So the do's at the interviews. Now winners don't do different things, they do things differently. Now what happens? See, the basic set of principles, that are the basic rules for interview, would be the same. That you have to be confident, you have to dress well, you have to show enthusiasm, you have to be much of a good listener, but you have to do it differently. Now when you are selling yourself, you need to have a USP. What's a USP? It's the unique sales proposition of any product. Every product has a unique sales proposition. Like I gave the example of Bata shoes. So Bata shoes, the unique sales proposition, the one unique thing about those shoes are when people want comfort, when people want that the shoes should last, they prefer going to Bata. When they want style, they'll prefer some other brands. So you need to find out your unique sales proposition. What are you good at? If you are good at communication, focus on that and try to sell on that, because people with good communication do very well when they are into marketing, they do very well when they are into HR services. But then people good at finances, they're good at financial services. So you need to find out what is your one unique sales proposition that will help you sell yourself and that will help you brand and package yourself. So find out your USP, work on that and present that to the interviewer. And then go with the basics. Now the basics are, you have to dress well, you have to present yourself well, you have to do well. Now some people say that why wearing a jeans is not okay for an interview. That's because everywhere you don't sleep on with your jeans. So always try to dress well and according to the organization and according to the role that you are appearing an interview for. So dress well and prepare well. The first and the most important thing is prepare well. Prepare well about whatever you have written in your resume, whatever you have studied, what your knowledge, your background, your education, and your past experiences, whatever is that. So prepare everything well and dress well, and only then you can do well. And then grab opportunities. Now, what I'm here when I talk about grab opportunities, I mean there would be times in interviews when the interviewer would give you certain hints about the questions he asks. Sometimes even the answers are hidden in the interviewer's questions. So try to grab those opportunities. There are times when the interviewers are talking amongst themselves and you tend to get an opportunity to find out or think about your answers. So grab all those opportunities and try to answer well and do well. And then listening is an art. Listening is also very important in an interview, because sometimes when the candidates are too confident, they think that whenever they think that they are not uh, I'm sorry. So listening is important, because whenever the candidates feel that they are too well and that they know the answers too well, they interrupt the interviewers in between and start speaking. So that is never a right practice. So try to listen to the interviewers well, try to listen to the questions well, try to listen to the comments of the interviewers well, and only then give a reply, only then give an answer. So listening is very important in an interview. It's not necessary to jump to answers as soon as the interviewer puts forth the questions. And then be humble. This is one virtue that is becoming very rare in recent times, and people are looking forward to getting candidates or getting new managers who would be more humble. So humility is a very important aspect of not only for interviews, but in general also. So always try to be humble, try to be as polite as possible. And honesty, sincerity, and integrity are still the best virtues. So try to be honest, honest with whatever you have written in your resume, honest with your experiences, honest with your answers that you're giving. Be sincere towards the interview that you're taking up. Be sincere so that the interviewer doesn't feel that you have come for the job interview only for the sake of it, only because you just had some time and you had come for a walk and you came out for an interview. So be sincere towards your interviews, be sincere towards the work that you're going to take up. Next slide, please. And the don'ts. Now, don't stress. Stress is one thing which hampers performance from the very outset. So please don't stress yourself. Please don't think or overthink much about what will happen about the interview. Now, most of the times, certain people apply for job interviews, and when they get a call, and they desperately need that job, uh, maybe for any reason they desperately need a job, and then they appear for an interview. So at the back of their mind, a stress is there that whether they will get through or not. So in those circumstances, what happens when there's a lot of pressure on you to get a job or to be successful in a job, then you stress yourself and you tend to underperform than you actually can. So stress always reduces your performance at interviews. So it's important to keep the correct body language. It's important that you don't fumble, you don't fidget, and you don't shake your legs like so all those reactions, the body language shows a lot about what you are thinking and what you're feeling. So try to be confident, because no job is the last job on the earth. So if not this, then the other job. So don't let stress, don't let your body language hamper your performance. And don't show off, as I already discussed, don't show off about your achievements, don't show off about your past experiences or your education, if you're educated from a very highly reputed school or a college. So you don't need to show off. There are many people, many students from your college or your university or your school as well. So try to be as humble, as calm as possible, and don't pass negative comments. Now, negative comments about your past employers, your past teachers, your education, or anything, any kind of negative comment does not give a very good impression about you to the interviewers. So always talk about the good things that you have had, always talk about a good past that you have had. You don't need to share that you are the most distressed person on this earth, and that you have suffered all through your life, and that is why you need to get this job. So try to be as positive as possible, and try to be as humble and as happy that you can towards the interviewers as possible. Next. And then now interview is definitely the second step towards getting a job. The first step is building your resume. So when you have to build your resume, what you need to do, you need to focus that this resume will get you to a fruitful career, will get you the right kind of job. So it's always important to build a very good resume. It's always important that you have a resume that is printed on a very good paper, on resume paper preferably. And then it may be, now there are many formats nowadays on the internet. You can go to the internet, find out the right kind of format, and then prepare the resume in that particular manner. And always try to have a professional photograph on your resume, and try to make it as concise as possible, because nobody has the time to read everything in detail. So it should speak about you in such a manner that the interviewer wants to know more about you. So try to build your resume in a way that it is concise, as well as gives real or you can say positive information about you, so that the interviewer is interested in you. So because resume takes you to the next level of your career, that is interviews. And then focus on employer needs. Now whenever you're making a resume, the resume is custom made for each job interview, because every job, the profile is different, the employer needs are different, what the employer is looking for is different. So try to focus on employer needs, and on the basis of that make your resume. And then be concise, be clear, and complete your resume. So be as clear as possible, be as accurate as possible, and make sure that your resume doesn't look incomplete. So it should give the interviewer an impression that yes, this person has potential and he or she can be called for an interview. And keep it accurate, keep it appropriate. Don't try to put forth lies in your resume, something which you have not done, something that you have don't have experience of, or any of your qualities that you don't have. Please don't put it in your resume, because that gives a very bad impression at the interviews. You're definitely going to be asked questions on the basis of your resume. So your resume is like the trailer of the movie. So it has to be good. Only then the interviewer will try to see the whole movie. That is you. So try to be as clear, as neat, and as correct in your resume. Next screen, please. So here I have just shared a small sample of CV and resume. Usually CV is more detailed. CV has more, details about you, and resume is more concise, and resume is more crisp. So that's why usually people ask for resume, and there are less chances that people call it a CV. So keep your resume as concise and as crisp as possible. So these are samples, and there are many samples that are available with various professional resume builders. So you can take their help. You can take mentorship for building your resumes. You can hire a professional for building your resumes, but make it as professional as possible. Next. And then in the end, I would just like to say that some create happiness wherever they go, and some whenever they go. Now you need to be the former. So be the one who creates happiness wherever they go, always to whomever they meet, and not whenever they go. Like, so you feel happy when somebody is leaving. That happens most of the times during school or college days, when students are really happy when certain teachers are leaving, when they're not interested, or when they feel that their teachers don't know anything, or those kinds of an impression when they have. So try to be someone. You need to be someone who creates. And there are certain classes or certain teachers where you're very happy that the teacher has come. So try to be someone who creates happiness, where the interviewer is happy to see you, where the interviewer is thankful that, okay, he got a candidate who can very well fit in their organization. So try to be that. And then again, I repeat that the positive virtues are very rare these days. Be humble, be polite, be good, be honest, be sincere, and have an integrity. So these things really take you a long way in your career, and these things help you in your interviews as well, and they give you confidence also. When you are lying, or when you do certain things which are not acceptable, then definitely you are more prone to be stressed. You are more there are more chances that you will not perform well at your interviews. So with that, I come to the end of my presentation. And if there's any questions, please put forth your questions.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Dr. Namrata, for such a absorbing session and sharing your insights on this topic. Thanks a lot. So any questions
My
anyone will
pleasure.
have? So what Dr. Namrata did discuss, I'll just give you a background. Basically, week 4 of this program is dedicated on interview and resume preparations. We'll discuss the STAR model. We'll discuss, she already put highlights on the credibility, reliability, ethics part, how you can work on your strengths and all these things. So he just touched base, she just touched base upon the basics. So like week 4 for CEP program is dedicated towards completely on your interview preparation. What do you mean by stakeholders? So all these things will be there. So please feel free to ask any questions in the message box. Any questions you have, please feel free to ask. So that's what we were discussing about week 1. Self orientation, how, what kind of skills you need, like the 7 skills we are focusing on: self belief, self management, time management, communications, goal setting, emotional intelligence. She already touched based upon that, why EQ is so much important as compares to IQ. Then, as I mentioned, hand on important skills for knowledge professionals, workshop, interview and resume preparation, stakeholders management, best practices in terms of appearing in the interview. And then you have life projects. So any questions, please? Saad, can you please?
Yes, they are writing in the chat box actually. So it's like how to build our self-esteem is one of the questions that has been
Okay.
raised.
See, self-esteem is not built in a day. You need to focus. Now, self-esteem, how your self-esteem improves. Only when you know that, yes, you have good qualities. Everybody has strengths, everybody has weaknesses. So, when some people focus more on their weaknesses, some people are more depressed and they think that, oh, I don't have this quality, I don't have that quality, I'm not able to perform well. So these things lower your self esteem, these things lower your confidence. Everybody has weaknesses. Try to focus on your strengths. Whatever weaknesses you have, you can work on that. And when you get the strength, like when you do well in exams, you get good marks. So obviously, you feel more confident, your self esteem improves. So work hard on that. Suppose if you're not good at English, try to find a teacher, try to find a guide who can guide you in the right direction, and somebody who can help you improve your English. You can also work yourself by reading newspapers a lot, read out aloud, read good English books. So they really help you, they really help you gain confidence and improve your self esteem. And don't try to focus much on your weaknesses, because when you focus much on your weaknesses, then you won't be able to have a high self esteem. So try doing that, and that would really help at the first instance. And try to have an emotional balance between whatever motivates you or your social skills. Try to meet people. Don't cover yourself in a cocoon, don't sit back, don't be an introvert. So the more you meet people, the more you explore yourself and explore people, there are more chances that you will have a higher self esteem.
Okay,
Absolutely,
so
Yes.
very true, Dr. Namrata, very true. And that's what we always say, like for goal setting, you need to have installed good habits, good rituals, good self
Mhm.
discipline. Absolutely.
Next question.
next question is, can a candidate give motivational examples with the phrases which suits to the query of the interviewer?
Yes,
Kind
you
of case
can.
study, short. Yeah.
Yes, you can definitely give examples. You can give case studies. You can, refer to someone, but it should be such that, it doesn't show your overconfidence. See, I told, and every time I say, be humble and be polite. Anything said politely doesn't look offensive. So you can say certain things, which you can give examples also, but try to be as humble as possible so that it doesn't hurt the sentiments or the ego of the interviewers. Because interviewers sitting at that chair, few years down the line, if you are also an interviewer, you will also have a very high self ego and a very high self esteem. So you would definitely not like being hurt. So don't try to hurt the sentiments of the interviewer. Next, please.
Okay, so one of the participants just want to ask, due to the current condition, what should they do differently in regards to the online interviews, as this is starting to become a norm?
Yes, online interviews, I guess they are easier than real-time interviews or face-to-face interviews, because you are at your comfortable place. You know, most of the times when you are going for interviews, you are at the interviewer's place. But now these online interviews are happening. So you are at your own comfortable place. So half your stress would go away like that. And then when you are even in front of the screen, then the same things apply. You need to be confident, you still need to be presentable, even like you cannot dress inappropriately even when they are online interviews. So try to be as appropriate as possible, as correct as possible. And now since online interviews are there, now people will think that on their phone they can have answers ready, they can read from somewhere and answer. Please don't do that, because that's quite visible, and that's very easily identifiable when you are looking at something and saying, and when you are saying it spontaneously. So the difference is quite visible even in online interviews as well. So be prepared in the same way as you would face a face to face interview. So try to work hard even though the interviews are happening online.
This one is more of a time management question, basically. So, how to utilize time positively in daily life is the question.
How to utilize time? See, time management start from writing down your schedule. That really helps. I've tried also. So it's a tried and tested formula that if you really want to manage time, make a schedule. Like in schools, we had a routine: first period, second period, third period. So try to make a schedule and try to stick to that schedule. So when you are making a schedule, you know what you have to do. Now most of the times what happens is that whenever you are you don't have a plan, you don't have a schedule, then what you do, you try to waste time on things that are not important. So even if you have to suppose if you want to go to a mall, keep a specific time to that: 4 to 5, 4 to 6 I'm going to visit a mall, and then 6 o'clock I'm going to come back. So and you have to be precise with that. You have to be you have to stick to your timetable. So time management starts with having a good schedule. If you have a schedule, now if you're very poor in time management, I would suggest please start with a schedule in the first instance. And whatever you are doing, whatever things you have, even if you don't want to do certain things during a certain time, you don't want to do something, please mention it in the timetable also, that during this time you're not going to do anything. So that would really help. So and when you have written a time that from 8 to 10 you are going to study or you are going to read a newspaper, so at that time do that only. Don't shift from your timetable.
Ankit has a question. I'll read it straight away. How destructive minds in industries can exploit a person who is in growing conditions in industry? Then, at what level is it good for the future growth of a person who works honestly?
Okay, can you please repeat?
Even I didn't understand. Ankit, can you rephrase it?
अंकित क्या आप अंकित यू कैन स्पीक इन हिंदी एज वेल, लाइक क्या आप कहना चाह रहे हैं कि कुछ ऐसे लोग इंडस्ट्री में होते हैं जो हमें लाइक एनर्जी वैम्पायर्स होते हैं, डिस्ट्रक्टिव माइंड्स होते हैं, अनएथिकल प्रैक्टिसेस करते हैं? क्या आप ये पूछना चाह रहे हैं?
Yes, sir. Just like a person works honestly in an industry. मतलब सर कोई इंसान उठ रहा है, मतलब बढ़ रहा है, लेकिन कुछ लोग ऐसे होते हैं जो उससे जलते हैं, ईर्ष्या करते हैं, उसको गिरा देते हैं, मतलब उस टाइप के लोग। तो सर उससे तो उस इंसान का एक्सप्लॉयटेशन हो गया ना सर।
Okay, Ankit, I got your question.
देन मैम उस कंडीशन में जो इंसान बढ़ रहा तो मैम वो फॉल हो जाएगा, मैम इंडस्ट्री से बाहर कर दिया जाएगा। तो मैम एक तरीके से मैम
नहीं,
ये सही है क्या नहीं?
इतने फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आई वुड सजेस्ट कि इतने डिप्रेसिंग ख्यालात आप अपने दिमाग में ना लाएं, फर्स्ट एंड द मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग।
Yes ma'am,
तो
I just want to know the politics
नहीं,
like
दुनिया
that
इतनी
going
बुरी
on.
भी नहीं है जितना हम सोचते हैं। तो होते हैं ऐसे लोग, होते हैं जो
Yes
कि
ma'am,
आपको कोशिश करेंगे कि आप मतलब आगे ना बढ़े। एंड देन यू ऑल्सो हैव टू बी स्मार्ट, आपको भी स्मार्ट वर्क करना पड़ता है। और देखिए, फेलियर्स लाइफ का एक पार्ट है। यू फेल समटाइम्स, यू सक्सीड समटाइम्स, सो दैट्स अ पार्ट एंड पार्सल ऑफ लाइफ। इन चीजों को दिल से नहीं लगाना चाहिए। And the only thing is work hard work, persistence, humility, sincerity, honesty, ये आपको good returns हमेशा देते हैं, हमेशा हमेशा हमेशा। And that's what I want to say. So अपना काम उसकी दूसरों की वजह से अपना काम हैम्पर नहीं करना चाहिए। like दूसरे बुरे हैं तो हम भी बुरे बन जाएं, that is not a solution. An eye for an eye will make the whole world blind.
and that is not I'm asking. I just want to ask like I'm working something and I'm doing good. Then somebody jealous like he is not interested in, he does not want me to grow. He does not like that I'm in a growing condition. Then he make me fall. Then in that condition, what should be our reaction then?
You don't, that's what I'm
It's like
saying, you don't have to
yes.
react, keep doing your good work.
Okay, okay.
Keep doing your good work, that's what I want to say, that whatever it is,
Okay.
nobody can destroy you or make you fall until and unless you decide to fall. So when you stop working, when you stop doing the good work, only then you fall. So try to be try to give in your best efforts whatever you do, and
Okay.
you will
Thank you.
definitely get success.
Thank you.
There is a question like one guy wants to know the difference, basically, what the difference between resume and CV is.
Okay, so that difference between resume and CV is a very slight difference. That CV is more elaborate. CV has more descriptions about your, um, uh, more descriptions about your education and your experience. And resume is more concise and it's more crisp. So that's the basic difference. Otherwise, both of them have information about your educational and your work experiences, and
Ma'am,
about your strengths and your weaknesses.
ma'am, could you explain me what is USP, ma'am, in a slide?
USP is your unique say. Now the full form is unique sales proposition. Now unique sales proposition, like everything has a selling point. जैसे for, is that Ankit?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
ओके, सो अंकित, जैसे हर चीज को हम उसकी कोई एक क्वालिटी देख के खरीदते हैं, सो दैट क्वालिटी इज कॉल्ड द यूनिक सेल्स प्रोपोजिशन ऑफ दैट प्रोडक्ट। जैसे मैंने बाटा शूज का एग्जांपल दिया।
Yes, ma'am.
और या फिर जैसे आप पहले होता था कुछ एक पेन होते हैं जो कि आपको बहुत ही ज्यादा अट्रैक्ट करते हैं, जस्ट बिकॉज दे हैव अ गुड फ्लो ऑफ राइटिंग, एक्सक्यूज मी।
Yes, ma'am.
तो ऑल दोज थिंग्स,
Like
तो हर
Raymond
किसी,
watch, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Got it. Got it.
yes,
Got it.
कोई वॉच होता है, तो मतलब हर किसी का, जैसे आईफोन होता है, आईफोन इज
Yes,
नोन टू
ma'am.
बी वेरी प्राइवेट, एंड it keeps all your
Expensive.
data very
Okay. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Got it. Got it.
that's what.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, Ankit and others, just register for the CP. You will get all the answers. I'm very frank with you. क्योंकि अभी डॉक्टर नम्रता ने ऑलरेडी काफी चीजें कवर करी जो बियॉन्ड स्कोप थी. It is just for interview and how to engage with you. Thanks a lot, Dr. Namrata, for your time and your engagement for this project. And hopefully
Thank you
you
so
make
much.
India more employable and deployable with your help and support.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tosi, for having me on board. It was a pleasure being here.
No, thanks a lot for this session. Thank you, and Professor Pathak and others who are engaged in this novel project. And I guess, Saad, that's all from our side. Thanks a
Okay,
lot to all the
so
Thank you,
can we
Noida.
leave the meeting?
Yeah, please.
Thank you so
Okay.
much,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
everyone.
everyone.
Thanks a lot.
Thank
And
you.
please visit suslenceresearch.com and the Certified Employability Professionals Program. Register yourself, your friends, other college young professionals. And we can promise you it's a money back guarantee. 1 week you attend. If you don't like the program, if you don't like the approach, our practical approach, you are free to leave. As you have seen.
Surendra, the cost is basically it was 10,000 including our mentorship and CP, but now it's 4,999. So yeah, for this time only.
Its price currently 499, sir.
Yes, 4,999, 5,000.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you
you,
so
everyone.
much.
Thank you.
Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you.
Happy New
Thank
Year,
you
sir.
all for your valuable time and patience hearing. Please
Same to
don't
you,
forget
sir.
to fill the feedback form, and link is there in the chat box. Please don't forget to fill.
Okay,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you. And
लिंक है